Hey guys, welcome to another video. I want to share with you something that happened to David and I a couple of years ago now. We moved house because of this. It wasn't the only reason, but it was definitely one of the reasons that was in mind. I want to tell this story because I think what happened to us, we were so puzzled and didn't realise what this was all about, and I want to share it with you guys for anyone else out there who might be in a similar situation, whatever car you've got, because this can happen to any car. So this whole thing happened in 2015. My husband David and I had bought a Lamborghini Huracan. I'm not a rich idiot, neither is my husband. What we've been doing is a whole other story, but really quickly so that you can understand it. We both work in a technical marketing capacity. David's more analytical. I go and get the business and then we work together to deliver it. We had both been working for different marketing agencies for like years. We got to as high as we could. We had a talk and we thought, do we reckon we can do this? Just like husband and wife team. In 2015, we both quit our jobs and we went ahead with it, and it turned out that it was profitable. And so we're not a couple of idiots, I promise you. I was working late this particular day. I'd been out seeing clients. I got back to the house at around about 8 o'clock in the evening, and by that point it was already pretty dark. Now, where we were living at the time, we were living in this particular house that didn't have a driveway. Don't know what it's like elsewhere, but certainly if you're in or very close to London, if you buy a house, let's say, you don't always get a driveway. But we were in a new build house where you get an allocated car park space. We only got one, which was really annoying because we both had cars. So we decided we were going to park the Lamborghini in this space, and then whoever was working or our second car, we would just park that wherever we could. So it's about 8 o'clock in the evening. I get home, have a shower, put the dinner on. We were both watching TV, and our dining room had a large patio door on the back of it. Curtains drawn, and through the curtains we saw a headlight. If you looked outside the back door of where we lived, across the sort of grassy area was our car park space, and our neighbours parked either side of it. What tended to happen, people would get confused between the entrance to where we lived and the main road that was next on from it. So it was really normal to get people that would drive down, realise they're not where they want to be, and then they try and do like a 15-point turn because the space was quite small. And what normally used to happen, which was really annoying, people would hit your car and then they'd think, oh crap, and they'd drive off. So if ever anyone turned there, we just knew you got to watch. So I like go and stand by the window, and I'm not looking out like so as to stress them, but I was just keeping an eye. And the first thing I noticed, this is what freaked me out. It was an Audi Estate, black, and it was an RS car. It looked black or it was dark blue. This car went to do a 3-point turn, but it stopped, okay? So our car is parked here, and this car turns and is parked here. So they're both like in front of each other. And the Audi keeps its reverse lights on. One guy gets out the back, he gets on the floor and looks underneath the Lamborghini. I was like, what the hell's he doing? Like, and I'll be honest, by this point I was freaking out a bit because the car looked a bit shady anyway. But also I'm like, they're clearly here to look at that car, because why have they stopped and someone's got out to look? David comes over to the window and we're trying to hide because we're like, what are they doing? We don't want them to think we're watching them, but we're sort of panicking at the same time. And I was like, why would that guy be looking under the car? So by this point, David said, because he's trying to make us both feel better, he's like, maybe it's someone who's driven down the road, they've seen it and they just want to have a look. And I'm like, yeah, but you stand back to have a look. You don't crawl and have a look underneath the car. 3 more guys get out the back of this car. The car is still facing with its lights pointing into our window. By this point, we're like, let's open the curtains, let's both stand here and look out so that they know we're actually watching what they're doing. The guy driving the car was so cheeky as to actually flash his lights at us. The whole thing just gave us chills and we didn't know what to do. And I said to David, you can't go out there. Why would you risk getting hurt? All 4 of them by this point, there's one on each point of the car, like each corner of the car. And they all get down on the floor and look underneath the car. And they've got like torches on. This guy's reverse lights are still on, which is like lighting the area. Then in a split second, they all get in the back of this car. It continues its 3-point turn and it drives off. As it does it, I ran out the front door because I was like, I need to get the registration details, but literally as I did it, it had gone. What we then did after that is we went out to look at the car to see if they'd done anything to it or to see what they might have been looking at. And the bit that really freaked me out is I had the phone, I had like the torch on the back of my phone. And I was like, what was that guy looking at? So I get down in front of the car and I had chills because what was shining like really bright was our house number. We both go into the house. David's hiding the keys. And I'm like, do you know what? What's the point in hiding the keys? If those guys are going to come back tonight or in a couple of weeks' time when they hope we've forgotten about it, I don't even want that car anywhere near here because I don't want people breaking in. And that does happen. You do hear of that happening. I get on the phone to the police and I told the police everything that we saw. Even though I didn't have the registration details, as soon as I described to her the car and what had happened, she said that the police were aware of them in the area and that what they were looking for was jacking points on the four corners of the car. And she said what they're probably going to do is they're going to come along in about 2 or 3 weeks later, probably in the middle of the day when they expect you're going to be at work and the car's still there. They will get a jack, they won't even take the keys, they might jack it up on the 4 points, you'll come home from work and the car will be gone. I can't even describe to you until you're in that situation where you have got this asset sat outside your house and you now know that a group of people have got their eyes on it. They don't even care if you see them take it, they're going to do that, and they potentially know what house number you live in as well, and it's just the two of us living in there. I was absolutely petrified by this point. So the police lady said to us, hide the keys somewhere in your house, and she said all you can really do is keep an eye out for them, be vigilant, tell your neighbours what's gone on. That's all you can do. And she said, in the meantime, we are aware of them. We didn't eat dinner. I felt so sick. It was like a Thursday night, so we both had work the next day and needed to get to sleep. But we were lying there and every little noise that we heard, we were jumping and like on edge. I actually went to bed that night with a rolling pin by my bed. But like, I know that sounds stupid, but I was literally terrified. It got to around about 1 in the morning and we both just decided that we weren't sleeping. The thought of that car being outside was making us feel sick. So what we did is I took my car, David drove the Lamborghini, and we drove to a hotel that has got secure car parking. So we turn up there at like about 1:30, 2 o'clock. The valet were like, what are you doing? And we didn't want to tell them someone's potentially trying to steal our car. Can we leave it here for a bit? I think they must have thought we were both a bit weird because we were both in our night clothes, both notably stressed and just desperate to leave the car with them. They accepted it and they said, well, when are you going to come and get it again? And we said, oh, you know, like in a couple of days. Thank God they took the keys, because there was a point where they were like, if you're not staying here, we don't want to take your car. And I think the only reason why they did it is we used to go there a lot for lunch and like there's a gym there and stuff like that. Anyway, got back to the house. Did actually manage to get a couple of hours sleep. We found a secure storage place that looks after cars like that. We took it to them and had to pay monthly for them to look after it. So anyway, the car's gone. 4 weeks passed, maybe even 5 weeks. It was quite a long time. The same thing happened again. My car was parked in the space where the Lamborghini was, and this Audi turned up again. It didn't do the 3-point turn this time, it just drove up to the car. Obviously they all had a look at it and realised the Lamborghini wasn't there, and then they did their 3-point turn. And by this point I was so angry, I actually opened the curtains because it was evening again, it was dark. I opened the curtains. The guy flashed his lights at me again. I mean, this was the thing. They're clearly cheeky as hell because they were just like, we don't care that you can see us. I tried to get the registration the second time as well, but I couldn't see it. And around about 3 weeks after the last time they turned up, one of our neighbours that lives across the way from us, she said to us that they turned up in the day on one occasion and she was outside with her children, and she said that exact car turned up. She said the guys in it all look quite young, they all look quite, you know, like well presented or whatever, and she said they drove up, they were looking for cars, and then they drove out. 6 months later, we had been looking for a house this whole time. To be honest, we'd been looking for a house before this even happened, but this happening made us look really quick smart. A house came up, we put in an offer, we were successful. A completely weird situation, and even though it happened a couple of years ago now, it's still one of those things that we look back to and we just think, oh my god, what could have happened? You know, if we had just left the car there. What's really interesting is that, you know, in your mind, when you think about car thieves, you think about, I don't know, people on drugs that need to steal cars to pay for it, but actually these people turned up in a really smart looking car. They all looked very young and very quite stylish and dressed in nice things. They weren't the stereotypical car thief. If you've been through anything like this or similar, maybe it's not even a car, maybe you had your handbag taken. That nearly happened to me on one occasion, and that's really horrible as well. That might help someone else. Please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Yeah, we've been mixing too much. All my emotions are numb. Feel like I can't get enough. Nah, if you keep dancing on me, girl, we've been mixing too much. All my emotions are numb.